I think we're good. Good evening, board members present, Mr. Gonzalez and district staff present here with us at the boardroom. Time is 6:02 p.m. on this 12th day of April 2022, and I call this Business Committee meeting of the United Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. And if I can have the board members that are present here recite their name for the record.
Ricardo Molina.
Juan Roberto Ramírez.
And myself, Ramiro Vélez III. Let the record show that the meeting has been duly called and notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Agenda item number 1, if everybody can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to you, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, agenda item 2, any public comments?
None at this time, sir.
None. Thank you. Agenda item 3, informational items. Item 8, budget update for 2022-2023.
Yes, Mr. Vélez, at this time, I know it's been a request by two board members on our budget update. After talking to Mr. Javier Montemayor last week, lengthy with Alain Benavides and Sam Flores, we are proposing to have a workshop on this item on April the 26th at 6 o'clock.
Okay, April 26th will be a Tuesday in about 2 weeks.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yes, sir.
Here at the board.
At
Here
the
at the board.
boardroom.
Okay.
We could, or we can have it at SAC. We'll probably do the SAC, but just to have the workshop at that time. I think it's an opportunity for a community to see as a district we're transparent, and we can just give you a more detailed update. I think it's important that we have a workshop and not put it in a meeting like this. So we just need that item specifically to talk about. Okay?
Definitely, okay, I think we can definitely provide information that's up to date for this current year, and then
Yes.
any information that we can provide for next year's
Yes, that
budget
would be a
or-
very good opportunity to do that for the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B is notice of grant application or applications being submitted on behalf of the district. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, and guests. We're bringing 2 grants for your review today. The first one is from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the Clean School Bus Program. These are for electric buses. The application is going to be finalized at the end of this month or the beginning of May, and we'll be working to disseminate the information from there. It's going to support low and zero emission vehicles that transport children using the newest and cleanest technologies to be available. There was a question that Mr. Flores had put forward. Do we have charging stations available? And we do have 3 charging stations nearby in the city of Laredo. There's an additional charging station at the Fuel America on 35 North near Ensenal. In addition, the EPA is working with another funding arm of the federal government to maybe give us the opportunity to have a charging station of our own, but that's very far down the line. The second grant is the Texas Political Subdivisions Joint Self-Insurance Funds Safety Grant Program. And this one is to provide tools and equipment necessary to implement safe work practices. And that has to do with getting items that are on our, an audit that they did, on a safety audit they did to help us be safer. Any questions?
I guess in the first one, that would be for actual vehicles, right? It's
Yes, sir.
we can add additional, whether it's buses or other vehicles that we use in our fleet for transportation, or
Only buses at
Only
this time.
buses at this time.
We'll be looking for other funding to come for some of the white fleet vehicles and other vehicles that we might need.
what is the time period that you have for the budget or for the submission of the grant?
From the time they open it, usually it's a 2-month window, and we anticipate being able to get everything done in that window. The issue is we're still waiting for them to finalize the rules, which will then let them make the grant application available following their rules, and then we can work with it. It was projected for early April, came and went.
Right.
And now they're saying end of April, beginning of May, but we're working towards that regardless.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item C, 21st CCLC Fit for the Future After School Program Recognition.
Good evening, Mr. Molina, Mr. Veliz, Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Gonzalez, members of the audience, Rebecca Morales, Executive Director for Federal and State Programs. We're very excited to share some news with you all today. As you all know, this was the first year of our 21st Century Grant that we received from the federal government that is passed through TA. It is a 5-year grant, and with this grant, what we're doing is we're offering after-school program services and community services to our 8 LBJ elementary schools. In the fall and the winter, and I have our program coordinator, Ms. Guerra, here with us. In the fall, there was a statewide reading challenge for all Cycle 10 and Cycle 11 grantees, and I'm very happy to announce that United ISD was recognized in all areas. So first place in the state for most student participants was United ISD with 395. Then if we scroll down a little bit, in first place, also United ISD in the state, having most centers participate by grantee. And then most minutes read by center. In second place, we had Kennedy Zapata with 58,000 minutes, 58,193 minutes. And we actually recognized Ms. Delma Martinez today at a leadership meeting. And then we had the top 3 readers in the state of Texas. 2 of them were from United ISD. So in second place from Perez Elementary, a 5th grader reading 2,458 minutes. And then a 4th grader in third place from Kennedy Zapata reading 2,010 minutes. So I just wanted to share that with you all. We're hoping to recognize these 2 students at the May board meeting.
Congratulations.
Do you all have any questions?
And again, this is statewide recognition,
Yes.
so it's a.
Yes,
good job,
thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Agenda item 4, the following financial and operational items are to be reviewed by the Business Committee. Recommendation for action to be made at the next regular board meeting. Item A, approval of monthly disbursements.
Good evening, Mr. Veliz,
For this.
Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Molina. The Division of Finance presented the disbursements for the month of March for your review. But at this point, you all have any questions over the disbursements?
No questions for the disbursements. All right, item B, approval of budget amendments.
Yes, sir, Mr. Veliz. The Division of Finance has 2 budget amendments to present to the board. The first one is BA 2203. This budget amendment, if you all remember, back early in December, the board had approved to pay every full-time employee $750 out of the general fund balance. So we tried to get through the year without having to bring a budget amendment to cover these expenses. But as you know, the current situation with attendance and everything, we're kind of struggling. So we decided to go ahead and bring this budget amendment to the board. It's just to fulfill the action that the board had made. And we actually spent $5,198,222, and we're appropriating it to each of these individual functions as required by the Texas Education Agency. BA 2204, as you also know, with attendance and with the COVID situations that we go through every once in a while, with this past year, field trips have really slowed down in the school district. But the way we fund transportation actually uses field trips to help fund their operations throughout the year. If you remember last year, we brought one towards the end of the year to help supplement their budget. In other words, all we have to do is just really an accounting entry. Since there are fewer field trips, educational and extracurricular, we take the money from Function 11 and 36, and we're actually asking the board to give it to transportation because since the field trips aren't happening, they aren't raising the funds that they need to continue with their operations. So we're kind of like making a manual entry, but it is a budget amendment and we do have to take it to the board for your approval. This one has no effect on fund balance. We're just moving the money that would have been moved with every request that a field trip would have come in. We would have charged their budget line item at the schools and given the money to transportation. Since it's not happening, we're asking the board to do it. This will not be the last time. I didn't want to do the whole year. I want to see how the school district does in April and May, see if these field trips start to fund themselves. If not, then probably June or July, I'll bring a pretty similar budget amendment to wrap up the year for transportation. They can continue with their operations.
On the first one, the 5.1,
Yes, sir.
5.2, was that an anticipated move at the end of the year that was still going to be done, or that you're doing it early, or?
No, this will be the only one.
The only one, but if we wouldn't have done this right now, we were still going to do it at the end of the year?
No, sir. This is just to reflect the actual expenditure that occurred because of the board action with the 750.
Okay.
If you were to do another one, and I'm not telling everybody we're gonna do another one. just for
Right.
the record, we would bring,
Make it clear, Mr. Flores, so,
Yes.
not at this point.
We would bring another budget amendment to
Right.
reflect that particular transaction.
Okay. The 15 accounts, those are all the payroll accounts that you have?
Yes, sir. These are all the different, there's an employee in more than one, obviously, in each one of these functions that we present to you.
All right. No problem, sounds good.
Yes, sir. Those are all the budget amendments.
Okay. Item C, approval awarding bids, proposals, and qualifications.
Good evening, members of the
Good
board,
evening.
superintendent, and staff. We have the following recommendations for your consideration. RFP 2022-001, interactive flat panels, mini computers, and accessories. The recommended vendor is ACES Consulting, as per the attached tabulation. RFP 2022-005, family and community engagement. The recommended vendor is Family Leadership Inc. /parenting partners. The estimated amount for year one is $250,240. RFP 2022-015, general swimming pool maintenance, chemicals, equipment, and testing supplies to Border Pools Maintenance and Supply. And then we have 13 renewals for your consideration.
On the first one for the interactive flat panels,
Yes.
I know we have already started that,
This is a new bid, so we had a previous three-year bid that we did for the, we've had several bids, but
Right.
the last bid already ended, so this is for the ESSER funds and new construction.
would this be a new vendor that we're using, or? is it-
The vendor that's awarded is actually the vendor that was awarded last time. We did entertain presentations from top three vendors, about, what, week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and this is the consensus from the committee. They want to stick with the vendor we had previously.
Okay. Quick question, I think we have started to expand, or we've been expanding the flat panels to most of our schools. I know we were targeting certain grade levels. Where are we at?
We would like to, sorry. Hector Perez for the record. Part of this, it includes the ones for Molina Middle School.
Okay.
There's about 50 that we have for Molina. Then we want to buy 400 for the high schools. At the beginning, we prioritized the middle schools and third, fourth, and fifth.
Right.
Because that was a priority determined by the Department of
Have we pretty much
Instruction.
completed that?
Yes, sir.
that phase
Yes, sir.
of that?
Oh, yeah. The next thing that we want to do is expand to the high schools, into the science labs. There are some that we're buying that are bigger, 86 inch. Our standard is 75. And then we want to buy, we're trying to see if there's enough money for the second grade. We want to start with second grade.
So is it safe to say that right now, we can pretty much guarantee that every third, fourth, and fifth grade class has an interactive
Yes,
panel?
we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct, sir.
And we did 100% on those.
Okay.
Because that was the priority.
The first one,
Yeah, and then the high schools, we got to take care of the high schools because these kids are ready to go into the real world, and the interactive experience is just amazing what it can do. Yeah. They have a 7-year warranty. That is something that we were able to get as a committee.
Right.
7-year warranty. If you award this, we will be a smart, that's the brand, smart district, 100%. We have very good relationship with the vendor. All of the shipping charges when they break down, everything that we do to send it back, all of that, it's included. There's no extra fee for the freight, so everything's in there.
What's the amount of the bid or the?
We're awarding it on 100. We're going to buy 100 at a
100,
time.
100 at a
So I
time,
think,
okay.
what was the total? Quick?
Yes, so we have a per unit cost. So our elementaries use what's called a balance box IFP, which is a little pricier than the standard wall mounted that goes in our secondary campuses.
Okay.
But even in our secondary campuses, some of our labs and our special ed take the balance box. So you're looking at about $3,400 per panel installed.
How much?
$3,400, which is actually less expensive than our last bid. The prices have come down on these IFPs. And so if you look at the tabulation, it's broken down by quantity. So it depends, how many we buy per purchase order. So, but we have negotiated with a vendor that we can do one PO and have it delivered staggered. So say, for example, the one that we're going to order for Molina, I can already include the first high school, so I can use the price for the 100 panels, which is less expensive than the 50 panels or the 10 panels or the 1 panel. And then they will deliver Molina first, and then the high schools are a little more complicated because we have to have facilities get one of our JOC vendors to go and retro the room, and so that's what holds us back. New construction is real easy because the wall's prepped, we order it, they deliver it, install within, 10 to 15 days for the delivery, and then the installation for a new school is about 2 weeks. It's our existing campuses that are a lot more coordinating. More coordinating has to take into account, and then also, painting of the wall, adding the electrical, and removing the current whiteboard that's there.
This is something that's going to be ongoing for the rest of the year. We'll probably go into the summer. Next year, we'll
Yes,
start.
we're hoping that maybe we can start with the prepping of the walls this summer so that we can do it. The other caveat there is that you can't leave the room without a whiteboard for so long. So you can't prep the wall way in advance. So you kind of have to say, prep these 10 rooms, install these 10 rooms, prep these 10 rooms, and you go on that way.
Some of it includes like replacing a whiteboard, and I know our teachers want to keep their bulletin boards and part of the whiteboard, so we split the whiteboard, we put it in the middle. There's a lot of customization that we do, all the electrical that is run, the data also because they're all connected. The interactive flat panel has its own built-in PC. So we don't use the teacher's PC for it, but it has its own built-in PC. It's an amazing thing, so you walk into any classroom.
I've seen it already at the elementary level.
Yes, sir.
I've seen several, the way they're
Mr.
utilized.
Perez, I went to Molina and they had so much wiring, and they had the room, a huge room where they put all the network.
Yes, sir.
And then they had the small one, networks on the back.
Yeah.
But they had wiring all sticking over
So
there.
over 1,000 drops or over
The
1,000.
panel, the big panel's gonna go over here and all that, real nice. It was amazing.
What was the purpose? So you said in regards to divide it?
Yeah, for example, if you have a whiteboard, sometimes they split the whiteboard, they put it aside and then they put the interactive flat panel, or they move the board to the side. The interactive flat panel is replacing the whiteboard in a lot of cases. But teachers still want to have the bulletin board or another whiteboard.
Okay.
To be able to write and, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's the precedent in the future.
And just to add to that, not only are they being placed, but they're being used. As we have our manager meetings at the campus, we do walkthroughs. I know Mr. Perez walks with me and Mr. Rangel, and we're seeing where the kids are going up and using them even in our special ed units as well. Because that's the good news.
You could have up to 4 kids at the same time, writing on the board at the
Using
same
it,
time.
okay.
It's just really good stuff.
No more chalkboard.
No.
All right, thank you very much.
Days are long gone, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so item D, first and final reading of FNCA local student conduct dress code.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Gonzalez, and members of the audience. We bring before you our first and final reading for FNCA local, which is the dress code policy for the 22-23 school year. And so really what we wanted to go back and do is we went to our, last year we had a relaxed dress code. We polled all of our campus administrators, Ms. Lessa did in her curriculum instruction department. And for the most part, we didn't poll our parents, but we did poll our campus administrators. And we went back to what we had in place prior to our relaxed dress code policy. And for the elementary and for the middle schools. At the high school level, it was decided to allow the students to be flexible in wearing what they choose to wear, however, with some guidelines in place as well. So we discussed this today with the principals. They had not seen this. One of the recommendations that was made is maybe for us to consider collarless shirts. Like a lot of the T-shirts don't necessarily have a collar. And that's something that, we wanted to discuss with you all. But we will be implementing standardized dress at the elementary, at the middle school level. We would like this policy to get approved at this month's board meeting so that we can go back and start our public information campaign at the campus level and to our parents. One thing I would like to stress is that we are not allowing torn or ripped jeans of any, or ripped pants of any kind. And of course, our blouses will have to cover, shirts and blouses will have to cover the midriff area, because that is a trend right now where it's a half shirt, really, that the students are wearing. We still stayed with 3 inches above the knee, nothing shorter than 3 inches above the knee. And we are allowing, the only change that we made, that we would allow spirit shirts at all grade levels to be worn during a school week. So if a campus wants to have, and they talked about it, if a campus wants to have a fundraiser for, they'll sell 5 shirts for $25 or $30 for the entire week, then that is an option, that is allowable, that they will be allowed to wear that spirit shirt at the elementary, middle school level for their designated campus that particular week.
I got a question. I would strongly recommend going back to the uniforms for one reason. Baggy pants, all that stuff. When we started uniforms a long time ago, they came in and they put a shotgun in the back of the pants. You couldn't tell because they had baggy shirts, baggy things. The guy walked in and, do you see anything?
And again, so right now, the recommendation is go back to the uniforms for the elementary and middle school. Right now, the big concern at the high school is trying to get the attendance. So that's what we're going to continue for. That's our recommendation for right now. And again, we got input from all our principals in previous meetings.
Well,
I think we need to go back to the standard stuff, so everybody
So we're going
can
step
look-
by step.
Everybody
Yes, sir.
can look the same.
Uniformed.
There's no, what do you mean, like, people that dress real nice and then people that don't dress real nice.
Yes, sir.
Uniform is a standard thing for everybody. Everybody looks, it doesn't matter where you come from, you look the same, and that was one of my recommendations when we started uniform. I don't know, some board members came in and they changed it, that, they didn't want this stuff. We want to be standard, we want to be consistent what we do, They start changing a lot of stuff. I think the basic was the best, and I've seen it for 25 years, 26 years, and now this is totally different, but I don't know. It's a.
Well, this is a step into that direction, so.
We're trying to go slowly. We're going to start out with elementary and middle.
He came from over there, over here, now they're starting to come back to the direction that we always had, that worked.
Right. Yeah, so this is nothing new, I think, for parents that are gonna try to bring it up as a
And then
concern.
you would give them two uniforms, the parents don't have to buy them.
No, we'll still
People
do
that have
that.
money,
We'll still
they
use
can
from
buy-
vouchers. We'll still be doing. We're still going to be doing
People that
uniform
have money
vouchers.
can buy $50 uniform pants, $50 shirts, but people that don't have any money.
And again, Mr. Molina, we'll be providing uniform vouchers for students and their families as well.
I appreciate that. In the South, we use
Yes, sir,
that a lot.
absolutely.
Are they
Absolutely.
gonna wear the color of the high schools or, I'm sorry?
The high school is what they want to wear.
The high school, we're gonna leave it open, or that's the
For this year.
recommendation from district, so, it'll be elementary and secondary. No. All right, that's good. All right, so, item E, first and final reading, board policy, CW local.
Yes, sir. Trustees, administration, members of the audience, we're recommending through administration some changes to CW local, which is the naming facilities policy. In short, we're making it a little more clear and reflecting what the board practices have been regarding naming facilities. We are bringing it to you for your consideration. It's not a legal policy, so it really is what you all prefer to do. We do have it right now that individuals living or deceased can have their name on the district facility per board action. And you also have the option at your discretion as a board to consider a nomination committee, a naming committee for deceased individuals. But we can also change that if you'd like to add living individuals. If the board takes action to name or elect a naming committee, previously the item read that the board president would appoint. We think it's better for the board to elect, similar to the way you elect your committee members for the instruction and business committees. We
I would like to
remove.
see,
Yes, sir.
the final decision come from the board. The
It is.
committee's gonna recommend, but I just wanna make sure you put it in there.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna come from the board.
It is. So, long story short, you have two options. You can name you can name the facility at your option, or you can name a naming committee, which has been más o menos the
We've-
practice.
We've gone both.
Correct.
Both options in the past, in the recent past, so.
And again, we're just clarifying the policy. We looked at several district
I see a lot of
policies.
things stretched out, I just want to make sure that it was still there.
Yes.
So I'm gonna read the whole thing,
Bottom line is that really nothing materially changed other than the fact that the board president used to appoint by himself or herself. Now the board collectively makes that decision, but at the end of the day, every decision comes back to the board for final approval. And in the past, even though a committee has recommended names, it is usually 3 names that the board chooses. Even when that has happened, the board has chosen another name outside of those 3 names. So ultimately, the board has the final say-so and the final decision. Really, at the end of the day, we would like to have some direction from the board. Do we go ahead and proceed with the way the policy has it with living or deceased individuals? Or do we want to strictly go with deceased individuals, and that would be the only consideration going forward? That's basically a question to be posed on how the board would want to proceed on that.
I would like to see both things, disease and living.
To have that option available,
Okay,
the way the
available.
policy is right now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Because ultimately, the board can name a building or facility and later on change that name again. So the board always has that right to do so.
All right. Any other questions on this?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have the next 4 items, or no, the next 2 items are on the boundary changes. Item F, approval boundary changes for the following elementary schools: Colonel Santos Benavides, Roberto J. Santos, and Borchos Elementary, effective 2022-2023 school year.
So here we go again, sir, and all of you here present. We received the plats from the state, from the city, a few weeks ago, and starting to look at the developments that are coming up in our community. For the record, I do want to say, and I know that they've been asking about this, the majority or the growth that we're looking at right now is in the Colonel Santos area. Colonel Santos area is a large campus as it currently stands in the enrollment area. It's a little over 1,000 students. And so in looking at this particular school, there's more development in this particular boundary. So we are looking at moving the boundaries for Colonel Santos Elementary in areas that are currently being developed. There are no students living or residing in these areas. And so we are looking to move these particular students either to Borchers Elementary, depending on, of course, where the development is, the growth is going, or the construction is going up. And the other campus is Roberto J. Santos Elementary School. And so I will walk you through the maps if you want to kind of see where the growth is. Right before you hit Bob Bullock Loop, around Kirby Lane, you will see the first one in this pocket right here. If you go to the next map, you'll see this little area. In this particular area, there are no houses there.
How many kids is Santos Elementary gonna have?
Santos right now has about 360, sir.
I don't understand because Gutierrez has 300 and something. Santos has 300 and something. And elementaries have 1,000.
Yes, sir.
And you got a brand new campus and a campus over here where they can come together and make a normal elementary school, because in the south we have 1,200 kids.
Yes, sir.
Then we have Clark, and then we have the other one, Gutierrez,
Yes, sir.
300 and 300.
There are some
No, the same thing, but Gutierrez, there's not a lot of population there that's gonna grow. So put them into the brand new Clark and eliminate those two schools where.
Well, that's for the future, sir. We are looking at that for the future. Yes, sir.
I was looking at it, I know that ain't my side of the district, but, it just makes sense. Like, the STEP, I moved the school from there to Juarez Lincoln to make room for STEP, because we didn't have enough kids.
Correct.
And I like to see the same thing,
We're certainly looking at that, sir.
We can get them together over here, build a brand new Clark, Gutierrez, Gutierrez and the other one.
Newman, sir.
Yeah, and the other one to Santos, and, and those are all schools. Our kids should go to.
Newer schools.
Santos should have taken the 600 to Santos when they moved. If he should have moved everybody to the new school.
Well, we're going to develop around the area of Santos, sir, as well. So that's,
I just hate to see a school half full
yes, sir.
and spending all that money where we got 2 schools operating with a lot of, well, yet, 4 schools that are operating, 2 schools that are operating, 4 schools operating with a budget, and then they can move over and just have one budget on both of them.
I think the issue with Santos Elementary, the new one, is that that subdivision that we built the school hasn't been built at all. So we have to anticipate that growth can happen.
Correct, sir.
Within a short period of time as soon as they
Until they
start.
move the other one, it'll be 600 something. It's got,
There will be over 1,000 homes in that subdivision.
You know,
That's why.
200 kids.
So right now,
By the time they build up, we'll probably build another elementary out there, you know?
Maybe.
The way it looks.
so right now moving, the main change will be from Santos, removing some students there.
Colonel Santos, sir.
Colonel Santos, I'm sorry, Colonel
Yes, sir.
Santos, and spreading it to Borchers
Santos.
and Santos.
Yes, sir.
But those are kids that are going to be moving in. There's no kids right now.
I don't have numbers, that's why there's no, because there are no numbers, construction is going up
Right, so those will be brand-new students to the campus,
to that area, sir.
to that area.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So there's no impact, we didn't have to have boundary meetings, we do not have to have boundary meetings, because, I mean, other
We
than
shouldn't
just.
get any calls from parents.
Well, we will, we will.
New parents then, new parents,
No cheerleading.
new parents. No, but they have to understand
The growth, sir.
Yeah,
I mean, we
growth.
looked at other areas. The second page that you'll see on, if you allow, move up, that's the revised boundary. Keep on going, Sam. I don't have a page number, I'm sorry. Right there. This is University Boulevard. With regards to that, that is still growing.
Right.
That's the last phase of Alexander Estates. All of these kids are boundaried to go to Colonel Santos, but because of just the explosion there at Colonel Santos, we're moving this group of students to Santos Elementary, right? We've already met with Mr. Garza and transportation.
None of those would get bused.
Yes,
It's
sir.
across the.
Correct, sir.
Okay.
Correct. So, and then it has the impact at the middle school as well.
So Colonel Santos should stay at that 1,000, even
There's still
it's
some
over,
growth,
it's
there's still
still-
some growth, sir.
Yeah.
We didn't move all of them because there is still some developments all along the Alexander Estates area that we didn't touch. Houses are popping up in between lots. So they're not clean boundaries. We meandered. I mean, we would eventually like to take everybody on the west side, but
Right.
it's late in the year right now, and there are students now that we would have to move.
Right.
Um,
Well, I think once we have that other subdivision in the Santos Elementary area,
Should it- yes.
start going up, then I think we have to revisit this again at that
Correct.
point and clean up
Yes.
the map again.
Yes, because I mean, like I said, we just went in through the neighborhood. This is a brand-new area. That's why you see all of the cutoffs and the divisions in that sense like that.
Yeah, the other issue also is that there's certain students that probably do not even live in the area that are attending.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of
Colonel
transfers.
Santos, I know
It's a highly requested campus, sir, for that particular area, for
We're not-
transfers.
Like this upcoming year, we're not going to be accepting, or is going to be a.
Well, it depends, sir.
Case by case, or-
Case by case. We have teachers who work maybe at that campus
That's
or
understandable.
Alexander campus. They may work at Alexander, so we always try to facilitate that. So we look at those particular areas, sir.
You have to look at the enrollment also, because a lot of kids didn't show up this year. How about maybe God help us, some of those kids will come back, you know,
Yes.
the parents will decide.
We are having meetings monthly with the planning division from the city of Laredo, and so they've been keeping us really informed. There are some developments coming up in the Mines Road area that we looked at. There are, of course, other in South Laredo. There are maybe some developments. They applied for Section 8 housing in certain areas on Springfield, which would impact Gutierrez, Clark Elementary, Nye, and possibly Trotman Elementary. Of course, those are all in the application phases, and we're looking to see if those applications will get approved by the government. If they are approved, then of course your housing will be impacted in those particular areas as well.
Mr. Gonzalez, I'd like for you to put on the information stuff, like the numbers on the school, because, you know,
Enrollment,
it's
sir?
gonna help a lot the parents when they see the numbers.
Enrollment.
And all that stuff,
Okay.
you know, that
The enrollment for each campus.
how everything,
Okay, we can
what
do
I
that.
hear is everything's pretty coming down pretty good, so.
We can do that for you.
And-
That's not a
and,
problem.
Any
I'd
other-
like for us to put in Susan and, you know, put it on the
The website.
Everything, all the information.
We'll put that on the website.
Any
Yeah,
other questions on
because
boundaries?
It'll promote that.
On that one, no.
The middle school was the next one, sir, that was impacted.
Okay.
So we did United Middle and back to Trotman Middle School. Those were the impacted campuses as well. Okay? There's no new students, there's no students in those particular areas either.
Right, okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so item H, approval updates to TASB Risk Management Fund Interlocal Participation Agreement.
So, again, trustees, members of the audience, this was a revision to the Risk Management Fund, IPA as they call it, and we clarified with administration that UIC only participates in the unemployment claims part of the TASB Risk Management Fund. You have other carriers for the other types of claims that could be filed. So this is an amendment that's coming from TASB. It's a large pool that includes many, many districts. The Q&A that they provided with this document basically said, if you don't take board action, it takes effect anyway, but we're bringing it to you for your, approval.
You have it recorded, okay, that's fine.
Any questions? All right.
And that's what we approval of request of board members in reference to use of Board of Trustees discretionary funds for various campuses and departments.
Mr. Vélez, members of the board, Mr. Gonzalez, attached in your packet are the requests that have been submitted officially. They'll be a part of the consent agenda item that will be for next board meeting. I am aware of another request that came in from Mr. Rodriguez, so we'll be adding that to your packet as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, so with that, it's agenda item 5 adjournment, time is 6:38, and we are adjourned from the business.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Love you all.